The space station was alive with noise and lights. Aliens and humans moving in every direction. Merchants calling out their wares. And the faint hum of engines vibrating through the metal floors. Among the crowd, an alien mother hurried with her small daughter clinging to her arm, the little girl holding a colorful toy tightly. Her eyes wide with excitement. The toy was round and shiny, with small moving parts that glowed softly. And it had been her daughter's favorite for as long as she could remember. They stopped near a marketplace filled with strange gadgets, and the little girl spun around happily, showing her toy to anyone who glanced at her. Suddenly, a loose floor panel gave way under her tiny feet, and the toy slipped from her hands, tumbling to the ground with a sharp crack. The alien mother gasped, rushing to pick up the broken toy, her heart sinking as she saw one of its glowing pieces shattered. The mechanism inside bent and twisted. The little girl began to cry, her small voice breaking through the marketplace chatter, and she reached out for her mother, her tears wetting her cheek. The alien mother knelt beside her daughter, trying to comfort her, but she herself felt helpless. She had no tools, no knowledge. And the space station was too busy for anyone to stop and help. She whispered softly, "Don't worry, my little one, I will fix it." But deep down she knew the toy was far too complicated for her to repair. Merchants and passersby glanced at the scene, some shaking their heads, some ignoring them. And the mother's worry grew with every passing second. Her daughter clutched the broken toy, looking at it as if it were a part of her soul, and the mother realized that it was not just a toy. It held memories, it held joy, it held her child's heart. The alien mother looked around desperately, scanning the crowd for anyone who might help. That was when she noticed a human standing at the edge of the marketplace. A mechanic by the look of his uniform, sleeves rolled up, and a tool belt hanging. At his waist, he was observing her quietly, his face calm, but his eyes curious. And for a moment, she wondered if he would just pass by like everyone else. The little girl continued to cry, holding out the broken toy, and the mother felt a surge of hope. She had to try. She approached the human mechanic, her voice trembling slightly. "Please, can you help? My daughter's toy." "It is broken," she said, holding the shattered piece towards him. The mechanic bent down to look at it carefully, turning it in his hands, and the mother held her breath, waiting for him to speak. He examined the toy, tapping gently on its surface, opening small panels with precision. And then he paused, his brow furrowed. "This is not an ordinary toy," he said slowly. "It has some strange mechanisms inside, but I can try to fix it." The mother felt a mixture of relief and nervousness. She had no choice but to trust this human stranger, and she nodded silently, kneeling beside her daughter. Holding her close, the mechanic set the toy on a small workbench nearby, pulling out tiny tools from his belt, the lights reflecting off the metal surfaces. The mother watched every movement, her heart racing, while her daughter wiped her tears and stared at the glowing parts. Curious, despite her sadness, the mechanic's hands moved quickly but carefully, and he muttered softly to himself, "Interesting. These circuits are very advanced." Time seemed to slow down as they worked, people moving past without noticing the small group huddled together. The mother whispered words of comfort to her daughter. "It will be okay, my love. We have a helper." Now, and the little girl nodded, her eyes still wide, but filled with hope. The mechanic paused, his eyes widening slightly, and then smiled faintly. "I think I have an idea. But it might take some time." The alien mother felt her heart lift, hope blooming in her chest. She had never expected anyone to care this much about a toy. She looked at her daughter, who now clutched her mother's arm, still sad, but no longer panicked, and whispered, "See, help comes when we need it most." The mechanic continued to work, opening panels, reconnecting wires, and examining each tiny piece, while the mother watched. praying silently for the toy to come back to life. Suddenly, one part clicked into place, and a faint glow returned to the toy. The little girl gasped in delight, reaching out her hands. And the mother's eyes shone with tears of relief. The mechanic looked up at them, a small smile on his face. "It's not perfect yet, but it's starting to work," he said. The mother nodded, holding her daughter close, and for the first time in the bustling space station, a moment of quiet happiness filled their small corner of the world. And though the toy was still fragile, the bond between mother, daughter, and the kind human mechanic had begun, a connection that promised more adventures, more challenges, and perhaps a story that was just starting to unfold. The marketplace was still busy, the lights flickering over rows of stalls, humans and aliens hurrying past, but in a small corner, the alien mother and her daughter watched the human mechanic carefully. He knelt beside the broken toy, his fingers moving with skill, twisting tiny pieces, connecting wires, and whispering softly to himself. The little girl's tears had dried, but she still clutched her mother's arm, her eyes wide, watching every movement with fascination and hope. The alien mother glanced at the mechanic nervously. Unsure if he could really fix the toy, she asked softly, "Do you think it can work again?" The mechanic looked up at her, his face calm but serious. "It will take time. And patience. This toy is not like the others." The mother nodded, though her heart still pounded. She had no choice but to trust this human stranger around them. The marketplace continued, unaware of the small drama unfolding. A merchant shouted about a rare crystal. A young alien ran past, tripping slightly. But the mother and daughter remained focused on the mechanic. The little girl leaned closer, whispering, "Will it move again?" The mechanic smiled faintly. "If we are careful, yes, it can." He examined the toy more closely, his fingers tracing the alien circuits, and his eyes widened. "This design, it is more advanced than I expected," he muttered. "It may even have hidden functions I have never seen before." The alien mother's eyes narrowed, curiosity mixing with fear. Hidden functions. The mechanic nodded slowly. Yes. Things that could be important, or dangerous. A chill ran down the mother's spine, but she quickly hid it. Squeezing her daughter's hand, "We only need it to be safe for her," she said, her voice steady. The mechanic paused, taking a small tool from his belt, and carefully removed a panel from the toy inside. Tiny lights blinked and small wires hummed with energy. The alien mother gasped, amazed and nervous. "I didn't know it had this inside," the mechanic nodded. "Few people know. But we will be careful." He worked slowly, connecting pieces, tapping gently on circuits. His concentration total. Meanwhile, the little girl's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Why is it glowing?" she asked. The mechanic looked at her, smiling faintly. "It is alive in a way. It remembers things. It wants to move." The alien mother felt hope rising, a small spark of joy in her chest. Her daughter's favorite toy might live again. She whispered softly to her daughter, "See? We have a helper. He will try to fix it." Time passed slowly as the mechanic worked, twisting tiny screws, reconnecting wires, and examining every glowing part. The marketplace seemed distant now, the noise fading into background hum. The mother watched every movement, holding her daughter close, her heart tight with worry and hope. Suddenly, a soft click echoed as a small panel snapped into place, and a faint light began to pulse inside the toy. The little girl gasped, reaching out her hands. "It's moving." The mechanic smiled faintly. "Just a little. We need to be careful. It could break again." The mother nodded, tears forming in her eyes, relief mixing with amazement. "Thank you." "I don't know how to repay you," the mechanic shrugged. "Helping is enough." "Sometimes," he said, but his eyes lingered on the toy, curious and thoughtful. As he worked, the mechanic noticed something unusual. A small symbol glowing inside the toy, something he had never seen before. He frowned slightly, studying it, tapping gently on the panel. This is strange, he muttered. The alien mother looked at him, worry returning. Strange. What do you mean? The mechanic hesitated. It is a signal, or a message. I am not sure yet. The little girl tilted her head, confused. A message. From who? The mother hugged her tightly. Don't worry about that, sweet one. It is just part of the toy, she said. Though her mind raced with questions, the mechanic continued working carefully, connecting more wires and the toys. Lights began to glow brighter. Suddenly, the toy moved slightly on its own, spinning and beeping softly, and the little girl laughed in delight. Reaching for it, the mother smiled. But she could not ignore the feeling of unease. The toy seemed almost alive. The mechanic's eyes narrowed as he watched. It is more than just a toy. It has a purpose, he whispered, almost to himself. Around them, the marketplace continued. Unaware of the strange energy growing in the small corner, the alien mother held her daughter close, and the mechanic knelt beside them. His focus absolute. The little girl clutched her toy, eyes wide, hope and excitement filling her face. The mother realized that this human mechanic was not just fixing a toy. He was creating a small miracle, and as the mechanic worked, carefully piecing together the toy, a feeling of suspense hung in the air. Something about the toy felt important, more important than anyone could imagine. The mother whispered softly, "Whatever happens, thank you." The mechanic nodded. "We will see if it can survive, and maybe even do more than we think." The little girl hugged the toy tightly. Then, for a moment, everything felt calm, but in the shadows of the marketplace, faint eyes watched, and the mechanic noticed it too. The story was only beginning, and Titha, human mechanic, led the alien mother and her daughter through the twisting corridors of the space station, the lights flickering softly overhead. His workshop was a small room tucked away behind heavy metal doors filled with tools, strange machines, and glowing panels. The alien mother looked around, wide-eyed, amazed at the rows of gadgets she had never seen before. Her daughter clutched her repaired toy tightly, still glowing faintly, and whispered, "Is this where it will get stronger?" The mechanic nodded, his eyes serious. "I will study it carefully here, away from the crowd, and see what it really is capable of." He set the toy on a workbench, pulling out magnifiers, small screwdrivers, and a scanner that hummed with blue light. The alien mother knelt beside her daughter, both watching as he began his careful work. "Why is it glowing like this?" the mother asked nervously. The mechanic studied the circuits, tapping gently. "It is not normal. Energy inside. Energy that responds to touch and thought." The little girl's eyes widened. "Energy. Like magic." The mechanic smiled faintly. "Something like that, but it is science we do not fully understand." As he worked, the mechanic opened hidden panels, revealing tiny, intricate circuits that glimmered like starlight. The mother leaned closer, whispering, "Is it dangerous?" The mechanic shook his head slowly. "Not yet. But it could be if it falls into the wrong hands." He paused for a moment, looking at the alien mother seriously. "This toy is important. More than it seems." The mother's heart raced, worry and curiosity mixing. "Important? How?" "It is just a toy." The mechanic hesitated. "Perhaps it carries information, a message, or a key. I am not certain yet." Suddenly, the toy emitted a soft pulse, and the lights on the circuits flickered in a strange pattern. The little girl leaned forward, her fingers itching to touch it, but the mother held her back gently. The mechanic's eyes narrowed. "It is communicating, in some way, but I cannot read it fully." He tapped on a console nearby, bringing up a holographic screen that showed patterns of energy radiating from the toy. The mother whispered, "What does it mean?" The mechanic shook his head slowly. "I do not know yet, but it is sending signals somewhere, maybe to someone." The room grew quiet, except for the soft hum of machines, the glow of the toy reflecting in the eyes of the alien mother and her daughter. The mechanic worked carefully, tracing wires, connecting panels, and watching the toy respond to his touch. Each movement of his hands caused lights to flash differently, some forming strange symbols that neither the mother nor her daughter understood. "Look at that," the mechanic said, pointing at a small holographic projection appearing above the toy. It showed a tiny map of stars, strange coordinates moving like they were alive. The alien mother gasped, "Is it a map?" The mechanic nodded slowly. "Yes, but I do not know where it leads or why it is inside a toy." Suddenly, the toy spun lightly on the workbench, lights brightening and dimming like it was alive. The little girl reached out cautiously. "Can I touch it?" The mechanic held up a hand. "Not yet. It is learning, reacting. We must be careful." He studied the glowing patterns, muttering to himself, "Fascinating. This design is older than I expected, and it contains multiple layers of data." The mother leaned close, curiosity stronger than fear. "Layers of data. What does it mean?" The mechanic paused, looking at her seriously. "It means this toy is more than a toy. It could change things if someone discovers it." The alien mother's grip on her daughter tightened slightly, a mixture of fear and awe filling her chest. The little girl stared at the glowing toy, not fully understanding but feeling that it was special. The mechanic continued to probe carefully, his fingers gentle, his mind racing to understand the hidden mechanisms. Every panel he opened, every wire he touched revealed new mysteries, symbols, and hidden energy patterns. He whispered, "I have never seen anything like this. It is alive in a way, and it knows more than it should." Outside the workshop, the sounds of the space station continued, but inside, the air was heavy with suspense. The alien mother watched silently, knowing that the broken toy that had once caused so much sadness now held secrets far beyond her imagination. The little girl clutched the glowing toy, her face lit with wonder, and for the first time, she felt a deep connection to it. The mechanic finally leaned back, wiping sweat from his brow. "We are only at the beginning. This toy has stories inside, and I must find out who or what it is trying to reach." And in that quiet workshop, with the strange machines humming softly and the toy glowing like a tiny star, a new adventure had begun. The alien mother, her daughter, and the human mechanic were bound together by a simple broken toy that was anything but ordinary. And somewhere, far across the stars, a signal awaited, ready to answer the mysteries that had only just begun. He broken toy held secrets that would soon change everything. The small workshop was quiet, the hum of machines filling the air as the human mechanic studied the toy. The alien mother knelt beside her daughter, holding her close, both watching the glowing lights pulse gently. The little girl's eyes were wide with curiosity, still clutching the repaired toy, her fingers brushing over the strange symbols. The mechanic's hands moved quickly, yet carefully. His eyes narrowed, studying every panel, every wire, every flicker of energy. Then suddenly, the toy gave a soft beep, and a new pattern of lights began flashing in a rhythm that seemed deliberate. The mechanic froze, leaning closer. "Wait. This is not random," he whispered, tracing the light patterns with his fingers. The alien mother looked at him nervously. "What is it? Is it dangerous?" The mechanic shook his head slowly. "I don't think it's dangerous. But it is sending a signal, a hidden signal, somewhere." The little girl tilted her head, confused. "A signal, like a call." The mechanic nodded. "Yes. It is trying to tell someone or something important." The mother's heart pounded, her hands tightening on her daughter's shoulders. "Someone. But who? The mechanic tapped a holographic panel, and a faint map appeared. Points of light connecting in strange paths across the stars. He whispered, "It is reaching out, but I cannot see where it is going yet." The alien mother's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and awe filling her chest. Her daughter clutched the toy tightly. Sensing the urgency, even if she did not understand, the mechanic continued to study. Adjusting panels and carefully scanning the toy, someone may be waiting for this signal. "Someone powerful," he said softly. "We must be careful outside the workshop." The sounds of the space station continued, the merchants shouting, the footsteps echoing, but inside, a sense of tension hung thick in the air. The toy pulsed. Faster now, lights blinking in quick succession, and the mechanic's fingers moved faster, connecting small wires and tapping panels. The alien mother leaned closer to her daughter, whispering, "We are safe. For now." But it seems the toy is special. The daughter's small eyes shone, a mixture of wonder and fear. Will it find them? The mechanic paused, studying the glowing symbols. "I don't know. But something is coming." Then, a soft vibration ran through the workbench, subtle but unmistakable. The toy's glow shifted, forming patterns that resembled letters, numbers, and symbols no human or alien had seen before. The mechanic's brow furrowed. "It is complex." "More than I expected," he murmured, tracing the glowing lines with his fingers. The alien mother gasped softly. Could it be a message from someone far away? The mechanic nodded, his eyes serious. "Yes. And if someone is receiving this, we must understand what it wants." Suddenly, the toy emitted a soft whirry sound, spinning slightly in the little girl's hands. A faint holographic projection appeared above it, showing a distant star system, its coordinates shifting. And blinking urgently, the mechanic leaned closer, adjusting his scanner. "This is a call for help. Or a warning. Or both," he said quietly. The mother's hands trembled slightly. "A warning. To whom?" The mechanic shook his head. "I don't know. But whoever it is important enough to reach across the stars." The little girl whispered, "Do they know about me?" The mother hugged her tighter. "We don't know, but we must stay safe and listen." The mechanic continued working, carefully decoding the patterns, his fingers flying over buttons and levers. The room felt charged with energy, every light and symbol on the toy signaling something beyond their understanding. Then, the toy's glow changed again, brighter now, almost as if it were alive. It pulsed in rhythm with the mechanic's scanner, projecting faint images of strange ships, alien landscapes, and figures moving in the shadows. The mother gasped, "It is showing them, or showing us." The mechanic's eyes widened, both as warning and guiding at the same time. The little girl's small hands held the toy tightly, feeling the tiny vibrations, sensing that something was approaching outside the workshop. The hum of the space station seemed louder now, but inside, time felt suspended. The mechanic whispered, "This hidden signal. It could change everything. If the wrong people intercept it." The alien mother nodded, her eyes scanning the glowing patterns. Fear and hope mixing. The little girl stared at the projection, unaware of the danger, but sensing the importance of her small, glowing toy. And in that quiet, tense workshop, with lights flickering and the toy pulsing like a small star, a new mystery began to unfold. The hidden signal was real, alive, and reaching far across space. The alien mother, her daughter, Nethia, and the human mechanic were now part of a story far larger than they could imagine. And somewhere in the darkness of space, a response was coming, ready to answer the call of the broken toy that was anything but ordinary. The small workshop was silent except for the soft hum of machines. The human mechanic leaned over the glowing toy, his fingers moving quickly, trying to decode the hidden signal. The alien mother held her daughter tightly, her eyes scanning the dim corners of the room, a strange feeling of unease creeping over her. The little girl clutched the toy, still glowing softly, sensing tension in the air even if she did not understand. The danger. Suddenly, a soft vibration ran through the floor, faint but noticeable. The mechanic paused, his eyes narrowing. "Something is coming," he whispered. The mother's heart raced. Coming. Who or what? The mechanic shook. His head, "I don't know yet." But the signal has drawn attention. Outside the workshop, footsteps echoed louder now. Shadows moving along the metal walls, too precise to be ordinary station traffic. The little girl pressed closer to her mother, hiding her face. The mechanic continued his work, adjusting small panels on the toy, lights blinking faster now. "They are searching for it." "For the signal," he muttered, his voice low, tense. The mother's eyes widened, searching. "Do they know it is here?" The mechanic shook his head. "I hope not yet. But they will." Suddenly, the lights in the workshop flickered, and the hum of distant engines grew louder. The mother looked toward the door, fear tightening her chest. The little girl whispered, "I don't like this. It feels scary." The mechanic glanced at her. "Stay calm. It will be okay." For now, he tapped rapidly on a small control panel, attempting to mask the toy's signal. But the device pulsed stronger than ever, almost as if resisting. Outside, the shadow of a ship appeared on the far side of the station, its shape unfamiliar and menacing. The alien mother gasped, clutching her daughter. "They've found us." The mechanic's jaw tightened. "Not yet. But they are close, and they are not friendly." The little girl peeked from behind her mother. "Why do they want my toy?" The mother hugged her. "We don't know yet. But we must protect it." The mechanic moved quickly, pulling a few small gadgets from his belt, placing them around the workshop. "These will help." "For a little while," he said, his eyes scanning the door for movement. The toy began glowing brighter, spinning slightly in the little girl's hands, responding to the rising tension in the room. The mother whispered, "It knows. It knows danger is near." The mechanic nodded, "Yes. And it is trying to help us, but it is unpredictable." Footsteps echoed closer, accompanied by soft, mechanical clicks. The alien mother's heart pounded, every instinct screaming that danger was near. The little girl hugged the toy tightly, feeling its warmth, her small body trembling. The mechanic leaned over her, whispering, "Listen. When they come, stay calm. Follow me." He gestured to a hidden panel in the wall, slightly open, leading to a narrow maintenance tunnel. The shadows grew longer, stretching across the workshop floor. A soft voice called out from the corridor, strange and unfamiliar. "We know you are there. The signal cannot hide forever." The mother's eyes widened. They can hear it." The mechanic nodded grimly. "Yes. That is why we must move quickly." The little girl's grip on the toy tightened, her eyes wide. "Will it protect us?" The mechanic smiled faintly. "It is trying. But we must do our part too." The mother scooped up her daughter, holding her close. And together they followed the mechanic to the narrow tunnel. The toy glowed softly in the little girl's arms. As if guiding them outside the tunnel, shadows moved across the metal walls, voices calling orders, footsteps running. The mechanic whispered, "Hurry. We have only a few moments." The mother's heart raced, fear and hope mixing as they moved, every sound of pursuit echoing in her ears. The little girl peered at the toy, its lights pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. The mechanic glanced at her. "It knows, and it will help, but it is only part of the plan." They reached the end of the tunnel, opening a small hatch into a dimly lit corridor. The mother whispered to her daughter, "Stay close, and trust him." The mechanic's eyes scanned the shadows, preparing for the moment they might be discovered. And as the sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, and the unknown pursuers drew near, the human mechanic, the alien mother, and the small glowing toy prepared for the next challenge, a danger that would test their courage, their trust, and the mysterious power hidden inside the broken toy. And somewhere, beyond the walls of the space station, the hidden signal continued to pulse, sending messages that would soon change everything. The narrow corridor was dimly lit, the walls humming with the distant vibrations of the space station. The human mechanic led the alien mother and her daughter carefully. Each step measured and quiet. The little girl clutched the glowing toy tightly, its soft pulses lighting up her small face. The alien mother's heart raced, every instinct screaming that they could be discovered at any moment. The mechanic paused at a junction, whispering, "We must split the path. The guards will expect the main corridor to be clear." The mother's eyes widened, split. "But we are alone. What if something happens?" The mechanic shook his head. "I will stay close. Just trust me." The little girl looked up at him, eyes wide. "Will we be safe?" He smiled faintly. "We will try. That is all we can do for now." The corridor ahead twisted sharply, shadows stretching in odd shapes as the faint hum of distant engines grew louder. The toy pulsed faster, lights blinking in rhythm, almost as if it was responding to the rising danger. The mother whispered, "It knows. It can feel the danger." The mechanic nodded, "Yes. And it will help guide us if we stay calm and careful." Suddenly, faint voices echoed from the main corridor, calling out in harsh alien tones. The mother froze. Holding her daughter close, the mechanic gestured silently, pointing to a maintenance hatch on the side of the corridor. "This way. It is narrow, but it will lead us past them," he whispered, opening the hatch and signaling them inside. The passage was tight and dark, and the little girl held the toy close to her chest, its glow a small beacon in the darkness. The mechanic led carefully, scanning every corner, every panel, as if expecting the shadows to leap at them. The mother whispered, "Do you know where it leads?" He shook his head slowly. "It will open into the docking bay. That is where we can get a small ship and leave the station." The narrow passage twisted and turned, the air heavy with tension. Every distant clang of footsteps made them flinch. Every shadow seemed to move closer. The little girl whispered, "I am scared." The mother hugged her tightly. "I know. But we must be brave." The mechanic glanced back at them. "It will be okay." Just a little further. Finally, the passage opened into a small service corridor that led directly to a docking bay. The mechanic's eyes scanned the area, noting the patrols moving above and below. He whispered, "We have a small window. If we move quickly, we can reach a ship and escape." The mother nodded, her hands trembling slightly. "We must hurry before they find us." The little girl clutched the toy, its glow pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. The mechanic moved first, guiding them through a series of low doors and narrow hallways. Shadows of patrols passed overhead, unaware of the small groups slipping quietly past. The mother whispered, "It feels like the station itself is alive, watching us." The mechanic smiled faintly. "It may be, and that is why we must move carefully." At last, they reached a small docking bay, the soft hum of a single shuttle filling the space. The mechanic opened the hatch quickly, gesturing for the mother and daughter to climb inside. The little girl climbed first, still clutching her glowing toy. The mother followed, her heart racing, and finally the mechanic entered, closing the hatch behind them. Inside the shuttle, the mother held her daughter close, whispering, "We are safe." For now, the mechanic activated the controls, the engines humming to life, the glow of the shuttle lights reflecting off the walls. The little girl peered at the toy. "Will it protect us now?" The mechanic nodded. "It will help guide us, but we must still be careful." The shuttle lifted off quietly, gliding through the docking bay, moving past shadows and patrols. The mother's hands shook slightly as she held her daughter, relief and fear mixing in her chest. The little girl whispered, "I can see the stars." The mechanic smiled. "Yes. And they will guide us to safety." The toy glowed brighter now, almost as if it understood the escape, spinning slightly in the little girl's hands. As the shuttle moved further from the station, the human mechanic studied the map inside the toy, tracing glowing lines that stretched across space. The mother watched silently, her heart pounding, knowing that danger was not gone, only delayed. The little girl hugged the toy, feeling its warmth, sensing that it had led them through the shadows and saved them, and in the small shuttle, moving silently through the vast expanse of stars, a fragile hope began to grow. The escape plan had worked for now, but the signal continued to pulse from the toy, reaching across the stars, and somewhere far beyond the shuttle's path, eyes watched, waiting. The adventure was only beginning, and the human mechanic, the alien mother, and her daughter were now part of a story far larger than they could imagine. The small shuttle drifted silently through the endless black of space, stars sparkling like tiny diamonds in the distance. The alien mother held her daughter close, both of them watching the stars pass slowly outside the window. The little girl clutched her glowing toy tightly, its soft pulses comforting her as the shuttle glided further from the danger of the station. The human mechanic sat at the controls, eyes focused on the readings, but occasionally glancing back at them with a faint, reassuring smile. "This is peaceful," the mother whispered, her voice soft but tense. The little girl tilted her head. "It feels safe, like the stars are hugging us." The mechanic chuckled softly. "For a while, yes. But we cannot stay here forever." The mother nodded. "I know. But at least we have a moment to breathe." The toy glowed brighter now, spinning gently in her daughter's hands, as if sensing the calm. The mechanic adjusted the shuttle's path, steering it away from known patrol routes. He glanced at the toy, noticing the faint symbols flickering across its surface. "It is still sending signals," he murmured. "Someone, somewhere, is listening. Or maybe watching." The alien mother's eyes widened. "Even here?" He nodded. "Yes. The toy is connected to something bigger than any of us." The little girl yawned, her small fingers still holding the toy tightly. The mother kissed her forehead, whispering softly, "Sleep, my love. We are safe for now." The mechanic continued monitoring the shuttle, but allowed them the quiet moments. Stars passed outside, silent witnesses to the fragile bond forming between human, alien mother, and child. After a while, the mother spoke quietly. "Thank you for saving us, for helping her toy." The mechanic shrugged. "I only did what I could. But the toy chose us too." The little girl's eyes opened slightly, peering at him. "The toy likes you," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "I think it knows we need each other." The mother nodded, feeling warmth in her chest, a strange comfort in the quiet of space. The shuttle passed through a cluster of distant asteroids, their rocky surfaces reflecting starlight. The mechanic adjusted the shields, keeping them safe from the drifting debris. The toy's glow pulsed gently, almost in rhythm with the shuttle's hum. The little girl hugged it, whispering, "It helped us escape, didn't it?" The mother smiled. "Yes. It helped guide us, and it will continue to protect us." As hours passed, the mother and mechanic began to talk quietly, sharing stories about their worlds. The little girl listened, sometimes interjecting questions about stars, space, or the toy's powers. The mechanic showed her how the shuttle worked, pointing to controls and displays. The mother laughed softly, feeling the tension ease, even if only slightly. For the first time since the broken toy incident, they felt a fragile peace drifting among the stars. Then, suddenly, the toy's lights pulsed faster, brighter, catching their attention. The mechanic leaned closer, examining it carefully. It's alerting us. Again, the mother's heart raced. Is it danger? He shook his head slowly. Not yet. But something wants to connect. Perhaps someone who can help us understand it fully. The little girl looked at the glowing toy. Will it take us there? The mechanic nodded. It seems that way. It knows the path. The shuttle adjusted course gently, following the faint signals the toy emitted. The alien mother watched her daughter, seeing excitement mixed with cautious fear. The little girl whispered, I think it likes the stars too. The mechanic smiled faintly. Yes. It seems alive in a way, almost like a tiny star guiding us. The mother held her daughter close, feeling hope grow stronger with each passing pulse of the toy. Hours turned into quiet moments of trust, the small shuttle moving steadily. The mechanic checked the coordinates repeatedly. Making sure no one was following them, the alien mother whispered to her daughter, We are safe together, and we have someone who cares. The little girl hugged the toy, her small face lighting up, and it cares too. The mechanic nodded, watching them with quiet satisfaction, knowing the journey was only beginning. And as the stars passed silently outside, the bond between human, alien mother, and child grew stronger. The toy glowed gently in the little girl's hands, a small beacon of hope, guiding them toward the unknown in the quiet of space, amidst the glowing lights and the hum of the shuttle. They knew that together they could face whatever came next. And the adventure of the broken toy, the hidden signal, and the journey through the stars was only just beginning.